That is all I have, unless you guys have any questions for me. Yes.
Hi, I'm Cecily from Texas County.
Hi.
First of all, thanks so much for what you're doing here, and thanks to the organizers of this. It's awesome. We're originally from Delaware County.
Okay.
I've spent the last 5 to 6 years actually working in politics statewide.
Awesome.
This is so encouraging because as someone who has been on the front lines, per se, of this, and you feel like you're beating a brick wall, and to know that there are actually other people on the other side chipping away at the other side of the brick wall, I'm renewed.
Yes.
This is fantastic. What I want to know, though, is do you have any campaign volunteer / training sessions in the works? And if you do or do not, do you want help with that?
First, help is always welcome.
So I don't want to step on any toes. I know I'm feet. I'm very large.
No stepping on toes. It takes every single one of us in here to do this work. So no stepping on any toes. I will say that I will revert that question to our new chairperson, Anna Langthorne. I believe that is something that's coming down the pipe. I have been working towards some long-term candidate development programs. So I'm more interested in working on the recruitment and getting candidates prepared portion of it. But with that, we need people like you're talking about, people who can manage campaigns and who can do the grassroots organizing and all of that stuff as well. So I think that that's definitely coming, and I would be more than happy to get your information and we can start working on it afterwards. Yeah. Absolutely.
For both of those.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Anyone else? Yes. Yes, sir.
We have at least one person in Woods County that completed the T3 training trainer. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to get more people trained based upon his certification and what he's learned in that. You know of other people that have accomplished that? Because those are the good people to contact to get involved to get more people trained.
I do know several people that have done it, and so I agree with you. I think that is a great tool, and that's something that we should definitely be utilizing 100%. Maybe in our conversations, I'm the chair of the technology committee for CD3, and so we're trying to figure out what we can do in addition to just a quarterly conference call, because that's kind of where it started. But I would like to see us utilize that committee to do some other things, like what you're talking about. Maybe form a committee of all the people that have completed that training. Now, I'm not the chair of CD3 or the secretary or anything, so I can't say for sure. But I would love to present that as an idea of forming a committee of train the trainers, maybe, if you all would support that idea. What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
What was the training? I'm sorry, I don't know.
It's the T3 training.
T3 stands for Train the Trainer.
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe, I don't know if you can still get certified, but I know that you can still go back and watch all the videos. It was all recorded, and so I think that we can get the link sent to you from Christine Berg.
Is that under Oklahoma Democratic Party, or
yes,
who organizes?
It's through the Oklahoma Democratic Party.
Well, it was actually national.
Yeah, it is.
I've been getting my emails from Angela Almond. She's up at headquarters. She's been sending all the links to me, and I'm working my way through. I can't get certified since it's over, but I'm working my way through so I can just at least have the knowledge.
So what does it cover?
Everything.
Yeah. It covers a wide variety of topics, and it kind of starts like baby steps. So it starts out with like engagement and that kind of thing, and then gradually moves into using some voter tools and canvassing and stuff like that. So I haven't gone through the whole training, I will be honest. I was in the last couple of weeks of my final semester of school when it was being rolled out, but I'm going back and watching all of the videos just like Amber is. But that it is accessible on the Oklahoma Democratic Party site. I can't remember the drop down, but if you hover at the top where all the drop downs are, when you hover over one of them, T3 training is like the first one when you drop it down. So.
And I can email the link that I have too if you guys want.
Yes.
As far as so many offices, I'm trying to get my grasp on it. Are there any resources available for would-be candidates in local elections that you know of that just kind of an idea of what to start working on, start thinking about, what to start, getting that ball rolling?
To my knowledge, no.
Yeah, I Googled it and I can't find it.
With that said, though, we are really fortunate in the fact that our chair, Anna Langthorne, is a campaign professional, and so she's worked with candidates and getting them elected for the last 7 years, and she's worked on several big campaigns, and I think some smaller campaigns as well.
Over 70.
Yeah.
70 campaigns.
So she's a really great asset there, and someone that I would encourage any candidate that's looking to possibly run to reach out to her. I believe that she's going to be very supportive and will find some resources. I also know that what's in the works is when Keith Ellison was here at the CD3 convention, he said to us at the Carl Albert dinner, we have money that we can grant. You guys just have to ask for it for field organizers. And so I know that she's requesting grant money for field organizers. So that in and of itself is going to be very helpful. The other thing that I will say is I worked on some campaigns. I have some friends who've worked on campaigns. So if you're not Facebook friends with me already or in some of those groups, join and then just reach out if you hear of anyone that's interested. And we will find the resources. We will find the right people. But obviously our chairperson is going to be the best resource that we have right now, for sure.
Well, and can I add to that?
Sure, of course you can.
I see, in my viewpoint, I see it as county officers, as precinct officers, I see it as our job for this. So if a candidate comes to your attention, or even a potential candidate comes to your attention and they're asking questions, the best thing to do is always just fit in with that network. And that's why we're here today, is to make a network that we can support each other.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. So the last chair race was really interesting, and it was pretty intense. I think it was kind of a close race. And prior to that, there were some things that were said about our previous chair, and I won't get into that. But I won't get into personal feelings and whatnot. But I will say this: the chair is also only as good as the district officers and the county officers and the precinct officers and all of the organizers. We all have to be an arm that extends and extends and extends, so that across the state we have built this coalition of people that are ready at a moment's notice when we have a good candidate. These special elections are really testing us and showing that they're really our golden opportunity right now in the state of Oklahoma. We're really fortunate to have so many special elections going. Some states aren't that fortunate. So we need to be better prepared for these special elections. I think that we're doing a pretty decent job, and some of the candidates I think have a really, really strong chance. So anyway, I'm saying that, putting it out there, that while we want to utilize the chair, and she's a great resource, we also have got to be sure that we are staying connected with each other and doing whatever our role is to strengthen whatever she does. Yes?
Could you tell us more about the special elections and what people could do to be helpful?
Sure, absolutely. And I'll get to your question in just a second. Okay. So we have Jacob Rosekrantz, who is in House District 46, I believe, which is the Norman and, no, well, it doesn't extend to more. It's the Norman and Purcell area, I believe. And then we have Stephen Vincent. I cannot think of his House district at the moment. And then we have Michael Jimenez Brooks, and that's the more southwest
Yeah, and
Oklahoma
then
City
there's
area.
also Karen Gaddis, HD 75, which
Yes.
is also, which is Dan Kirby's.
Yes. So we have several. We had another one in like the Shawnee Seminole area. Yeah,
28.
28, and we lost that by, I believe, 56 votes, which really stinks. So what we can do, we can find those candidates and we can contribute to their campaigns. You can contribute financially directly to their campaign. That helps them. You can volunteer to host a phone banking or just ask for a phone banking location, or you can even just phone bank on your own from your home. I've done it just on my mobile device. It's like an automatic dialer. You can just make, you know, as many calls as you want, 5, 10, 100, whatever you want to do. And you can also go and door knock. Those are the 3 key areas. Also, if you have friends that are on social media with you that maybe live in those areas, awareness, sharing their links, sharing information about them, making people aware that this is the day that they vote. I believe that July 11th is the same for Jacob Rosecrans and for Jimenez. I'm not sure about Stephen Vincent. But, you know, just letting people know. I think social media is super powerful. So even if it's not the best thing, if we're doing that in addition to door knocking and phone banking and contributing to the campaign, it's not going to hurt. It's going to help. So, does that answer? Okay. Yes, sir.
Well, I was just going to say that I've been encouraged. I'm a Facebook fanatic.
Yeah.
But how many friends that I have picked up since the election, you know, unsolicited, but every day I get more friends, and I know that they're Democrat, progressive people. You
Right.
know, otherwise they wouldn't friend me unless they were a troll. And they don't do it, you know.
Same.
So it's encouraging that we're getting this groundswell, I think.
Yes.
The other thing about, you know, concerns me about the candidates that the Democrats seem to have been getting out in this part of the country. That most of them, I do not feel like are viable candidates. We need some strong leadership, you know, and talk somebody into running that's got a chance. I mean,
Sure.
you know, the other thing, in our county, we're small, you know. There's approximately 700 registered Democrats and 1,100 Republicans. But there was 126 Democrats voted out of 700. You know, we've got to get out the vote. We could have won the election for Harper County had everybody got out and voted.
Yep.
You know, on the other hand, you know, there was 400 or 500 or something Republicans got out and voted, but still that's kind of a low figure for 1,100. You know, we need to not only, you know, I don't know how many voters or Democrats we're going to pick up. I don't know, you know, but if we could just get the ones out that are Democrats, it would help.
Well, it's
and I think that we should concentrate on the Hispanic, getting the Hispanics registered.
Yep.
And you would think that most of them would register Democrat, but who knows? You know,
Well, I think that first of all, how are we on time? Okay, so a couple of things. One, yes, I agree with you. Technology is amazing, and I am also an avid Facebook user, so it's been really great for me to connect across the state with more and more Democrats. I don't think we're friends yet, so let's become friends on Facebook. Okay.
Are we friends?
I don't think so. Let's become friends on Facebook. Trust me, I don't have very many trolls either. They come to my page and they're like, "Well, I gotta get out of here." She's scary. But as far as the get out the vote thing, I agree with you 100%. The only way that we're going to get out the vote is by going and knocking those doors.
Yes.
We have to knock those doors, knock them, and we have to update our tool. So Van, we can update it if we hit a wrong, an address and it's not the right person, then we update that. The tool is only as good as the data that we put into it. So as long as we are updating, just 1 second, as long as we're updating that data, it's going to give us a much better chance at being accurate in getting out the vote when it comes to other elections going forward. But that's why part of my strategy is to knock the doors now. Instead of waiting until an election happens, now we're going to do that too, but getting that turf cut and going and starting to try to clean up Van early on, and also knock every single dem door and start to figure out where our base is, and let them know that we're having these meetings, let them know that the party is active, because maybe we don't just get them to vote, but maybe we get them to start being an active participant and they start to knock doors as well. And then we start to really grow our talent pool. Maybe there's a candidate hanging out there that we don't know about that's just felt disenfranchised for whatever reason or something. And then the other thing, as far as the Hispanic voters, I am friends with quite a few Hispanics in my community, and much of what I'm told is, my voice just isn't heard. It's just not. So I would say that we've got some room for opportunity, and we can't ask people to join us in voting unless we're willing to really open up the dialogue and find out what issues are important to this particular community, and how can we incorporate it into our platform, and how can we speak to it, and maybe help these communities form caucuses. So I think we've got a lot of work to do, to your point.
Oh, I do too.
Definitely. So, yeah. I think he raised his hand.
On the mail-in, when the people register to vote, they can check the box.
Yes.
Is there another mail-in form what do they have to do if they're already registered to get the mail?
I believe, I'm not certain on this. I will have to do a little, okay, Amber knows and she can answer.
Badvoter.org. Go to badvoter.org. It'll tell you how many days since you voted. It'll say you're a good voter because the last election was 102 days ago and you voted 102 days ago. But beyond that, you can click on vote by mail, and then it'll ask you for your name, address, and just basic information like you would when you register to vote. And then the county election board sends out the ballots, I think it's 60 days before the vote happens. And then you have up until, I think, 2 weeks before?
I believe it's 2 weeks. Yeah.
But if it's within 2 weeks of the day of voting and you have not received your ballot, you just go to the polls or you go to the county election board.
So the question I thought you had was, if you're already registered, can you still register to vote by mail?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
And you don't
Badvoter.org.
And you don't even have to,
You go through it.
sorry, you don't even have to always vote by mail. You can just say you're going to vote by mail, and you can still walk in to your polling location and vote at your polling location. But what it does is it enables you to have an opportunity to review the candidates and the issues prior to voting, as well as it serves as a reminder. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to be on a business trip, I'm not going to make it to a polling location, do your mail-in ballot. It's just a better way for us to ensure that we're getting out the vote in higher numbers.
And it's a permanent request.
Yes, it's a permanent
No,
request.
you have to do it every year.
Yeah, you have to do
Oh, okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
But you can also
Oklahoma
remind your
makes it
friends
every year.
to vote.
Yes, and you can remind your friends to vote as well. Sorry, I'm not 100% on all of that. I apologize. Yes. Oh, go ahead. Okay. Go ahead.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just going to add to that. It's actually, I think, 5 days before.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
So I
good.
have actually. So what's going to happen is if you decide that you are going to sign up to vote by mail, you will have to bring the absentee ballot with you to your
Hand it
polling
in.
place and say, I didn't vote. They're going to have you sign an affidavit. They're going to have to see your ID, and then that's all that is. But it's a great way to have a sample ballot, which you can also download on the Elections Commission website, as well as you can also do the vote by mail option online as well as on the election
Yeah.
commission website, as well as that voter. David Glover is fantastic. By the way.
Yes, he is.
But you can download the sample ballot, and you can. It's a good tool to practice, especially with those who have not voted before, for them to get a chance to look at what they're going to do, and then you can take that in with you, and you can have your notes on candidates, on questions, on bond issues, of what you're going to go into and vote for. Now, on bigger elections, a lot of organizations, and I know that the Democratic Party, as well as Together Oklahoma and Oklahoma Policy and the Oklahoma Federation of Women, like, there's just tons of groups out there that will release voter guides that will explain, especially with all the state questions that we had in plain English and not legalese, as to what each question or each bond issue is. And those become more available, I think, 3 to 6 months out. It depends on what
it is. Yeah.
We're working
What it
on
is.
one in the group that I'm in, OCRJ. We're working on one now,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
it's
maybe
way in
call me
advance.
Yeah. And see, this is why there's no stepping on toes, right? Because this is obviously an area that you know a lot about, and it's not my best area. So I want us to form this connection so that we have these people who are subject matter experts in certain areas, and we can share that wealth of knowledge with each other. So thank you so much for bringing all that information.
We've got more, and we're going to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I just had, speaking of encouragement and stuff like that, and I spend a great deal of my time talking to people at work and stuff like that, and I just kind of want to throw it out there, this national populism thing, the way it's starting to happen. There are certain people I've talked to that are hardcore Trump voters who are now like, what the hell's going on? So, at that time, I don't know if everyone's had that experience, but me personally, I've been talking to a lot of people, and, just whatever, just in passing. And the way to start doing that, they're starting to figure out that, nationalism and stuff like that is not, going to work the way they thought it would if Trump's going to.
Sure. Well, and I mean, I found too that when you have conversations about the issues, when you really just start to separate things from the party, and you just, let's talk about health care. First let's establish that Obamacare and the Affordable Care Act are the same thing.
Yes.
That you do not have something different than everyone else. But, when you start to break things down by issue, that's where you really get somewhere in these conversations. I was so bad, even a year ago, about letting myself get wound up on Facebook or even in person about the party, or just, one thing would lead to another, and I would just be like, oh, I'm just so angry. I can't articulate what I'm trying to say. And so, but I have found that if you focus on one issue and just stick with that, even if you can't turn someone into a Democrat, you can at least start to bridge that gap. And so I agree with you. I've seen a lot of encouragement from many of my conservative friends are not supportive.
Just the other day, my neighbor, he was trying to find his Trump sign out in his front yard, and I saw his trash can the other day. So, whatever that's.
Well,
you can't find anybody that voted for Mary Fallon. I don't know how she got elected, but you can't find anybody that voted for her.
yeah, we'll be able to find them now. So do we have any more questions or comments?
I wanted to add something to
Okay,
the voting. I've been studying this. When someone is convicted of a felony, and especially in your line of work, if the judge says you have a 20-year sentence and they serve 10 of it in prison, 10 years after they get out of prison, they've served their 20 years and they can vote again. It is not a lifetime of no voting. I didn't before I found it out.
Not all states are that way, but
Oklahoma is that
but
way.
Oklahoma is
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
I think we
So-
should look at that as an opportunity.
And I'm not sure that these felons really know that.
And
Oh,
they
I
don't.
doubt they do.
I've talked to some of them, well, we can't vote.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
sitting
that's
over, yeah. We can
95%
vote.
of those guys, I'm sure, think the same thing, so I'll start.
Once your sentence is served,
The commission will let you know if they can't vote.
yes.
They'll send it back and say no.
Once the sentence is served, they can vote again. without a problem, like full rights.
So instead of churches, let's get into prisons and schools. Yeah,
When I carried the medical marijuana petition campaigns, I was shocked around Alva, where I did most of my efforts. Probably over half of the young people I talked to, oh, we can't sign that because we're on probation or we're on this. I was literally shocked at the number of kids, 18, 19, early 20s, that, oh no, I can't vote for another 10 years. And just going, what did you do? Well, they found a little marijuana in my car. It's just like, stop the prison line or pipeline system.
Yeah. That's something that we can fight for if we get our numbers up.
So
We need
vote
to
yes on 7, 8,
keep people interested, keep people coming back, talk about the issues. And one thing that I've found that really works, and there's a lot of Republicans around here, so I'm getting some experience, but speak with kindness. No matter how much you dislike number 45 or our governor or anybody else, speak with kindness and respect.
Tell with kindness, they love that. Smile, be sweet.
But even so, when I say with kindness and respect, don't use their name as a curse word or don't curse at the person. Talk about the issue. Say, the fact that 24 million people are going to lose health insurance has me really concerned, rather than saying, I hate Trump, he's taken away health coverage. There's a total difference in the way that you're presenting yourself when you talk about the issue in a respectful manner than, because we are the face of a very small blue community. So we have to put out a good face, is my point.
Well, and you're not going to turn anybody around when they feel threatened.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
We have to consider how badly so many of these people who have voted for Mayor Fallon or Trump or anybody, how badly they're going to be affected by some of the policies that they have put in place.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we can connect with them on those issues instead of the emotional.
Yes.
But we have to be careful with the forward attack on their voting record because they're already eating a lot of crow.
There are people that have buyer's remorse,
Yeah.
and to drive them away.
So we need to find what it is that unites us, what little thing unites us.
I think in the state of Oklahoma right now, it's public education.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's touching everyone, and even friends of mine that don't have children, they're like, I don't want to have a child in Oklahoma because I don't want them to go deal with this. I don't want to deal with the public education system that we're dealing with right now, going 4 days a week and, school closings and things like that. In rural Oklahoma, we're in such great risk of having to bus our children, an hour and a half to go to school each day. Like, it's really scary. So I think across the entire state, public education, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it is a huge concern right now. And so it's an opportunity to have a really honest conversation.
As a retired educator, this is part of a strategy to resegregate the American school system, where the worker bees go to public education and the elites are being financed to go to private or religious institutions.
Yeah.
That's what it all boils down to.
It's the path to privatization, 100%.
So
Make you
perhaps
believe
that's
that it's so terrible every single day. It's so awful. Public ed is so terrible that the voter base starts to say, well, gee, maybe we ought to go to these private schools. I'm seeing some great things coming out of these private schools.
Or
These
we
kids
get
are really
the
smart.
voucher.
Maybe if we have a voucher.
At home.
Yeah, we'll teach them at home. We'll do something different. And so it's the path to that, definitely, 100%. So.
And that's another way to divide people, because one thing that usually brings people together is their kids, the school activities, and all this.
Yeah, 100%.
I was just thinking about this the other day, that it's not like a sports team, the Democrats against Republicans. We're all part of the same country. We all have the same concerns about so it doesn't have to be that passionate, I hate anyone that's, goes to OSU or thing.
Whoa. Let's not get I'm just kidding.
That's what we gotta separate that, because I think we can all relate to that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, at the end of the day, aside from some extremes, most people want to have health care. Most people want to have their child going to a quality school. Most people want to be able to have a livable wage and be able to pay their bills, and also, maybe eat out from time to time and go on a vacation or something like that. We have a lot of commonality if we really get down to it. But the way that we think about how we get there is what's different. Now, obviously, there's some extreme cases, and there are some people who are really ugly on both quote-unquote sides. But I think, when we're talking about the common issue, like public ed or healthcare, etc., that's where we can really start to bridge some gaps. And we may not turn a bunch of Republicans into Democrats. We may not have that happen. But maybe we have some really great conversations, and then we have a Democrat run for county commissioner in a nonpartisan race, and they get elected because it's nonpartisan, it's a name they know, and you've built some relationships here, and you go to their door and say, hey, my friend so-and-so is running, and here's some of the things that they're wanting to do. I think that has to be part of our strategy. Yes.
Just have one final thought.
Sure.
Put a lot of things into this. I think one of the issues that we have in this area, in rural areas in general, as a Democrat, is that we get this stigma of like the Nancy Pelosi, liberal California, right? I mean, all the way to the left, and I'm more centrist Democrat myself, so if you go, that's fine. But around here, they look at those people and, there's snowflakes or hippies or whatever you want to call them. And I'm in my mind trying to wrap my head around how to do away with that stigma and say, yes, I'm a Democrat. Like I said, me personally, I'm looking for center than say Nancy Pelosi or whoever. And I just use that as a prime example because it's the one that I hear all the time. Oh, Pelosi Democrats, blah, 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 so. And that's just kind of this open idea, how to kind of not distance ourselves from our party, but differentiate ourselves from what people in Oklahoma see as, I'm from Washington State, so I'm pretty moderate for being from Washington State, but here I'm liberal, so it's just kind of a shift.
Did you have something to say to that?
I did. I'm trying not to bring this book up there because I know it's the new edition of Don't Think of an Elephant by George Lakoff, and it's about reframing. So, he has pointers and encourages to practice about reframing issues. For instance, tax relief. You think of tax relief, you think of Republicans and relief. But relief for whom? What burden on whom? And how to not let them get away with framing the conversation and when they try to reframe it. And that's...
I was watching a TED radio hour, a TED show about this. They were talking about framing.
Book with me if people want it.
I definitely want to take a look at it. I think that's interesting.
Yes, the way that you frame your words when speaking to a group of people, like you're saying, if you talk about tax relief, the Republicans are going to start nodding their head. You talk about progressive ideals, and a lot of Democrats are going to start nodding their head.
Well, I always ask them, what have the Republicans done for you? Most of them can't tell you anything.
But I don't know that that's going to make them vote any differently.
Well, it may not, but they are talking about conservative. I said, my parents were FDR Democrats. They grew up on farms and farmed during the Depression. If you think that the Republicans are any more conservative than they were, you're wrong. Being a conservative doesn't mean that you can't help people.
True.
And that's what Democrats do. They help the working man.
Yeah.
One thing that Lakoff mentions is probably 25 to 30% of the people that are strict quality moralists. And he says we look at our country as a family, and so that's their family values. Then another 25 to 30% are strictly nurturing parent type of values, and then the others are in between. You're never going to get that 25 to 30%, but you can get the ones that are in between. We have our own differences. There's about 6 different types of progressives, and sometimes we think we're the only real progressive. And what the Republicans have been really good at doing is they have one group that takes care of the morals, one group that takes care of the money, one group, and they weld themselves together. So as divided as we think they are, it could be that they're getting stronger just by saying, okay, you take care of that and I'll take care of this, and realizing we're all Republicans. So let's realize we're all progressives.
Well, along those lines, I think a lot of it's just talking to people. I mean, myself, I'm a corrections officer in benefits, so I don't really fall into the, Democrat bills. When you start talking to people about it, well, if you think this, then maybe it's not so crazy that maybe I think this a little bit, and, meet eye to eye on some level and show that you're not, opposed to Democrat, or, because it's just that stigma is killing you right now. I mean, so many people that just, go crazy about that kind of stuff. And there's some stuff that's going on that level that I'm like, you guys gotta be kidding me. Like, calm down, this is ridiculous. But,
I see that as almost a perpetuation of the infighting that is killing us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I almost think that the majority of the time it's more important to listen to a person rather than to talk. Because when you're trying to motivate somebody to vote along your party line, you go in there kind of with the script in your head, and I think people can see that. So if you listen to what they have to say first, they may be more willing to take what you have and actually sit with it for a while. So maybe it's not going to change them, right then, but they might sit with that after the meeting.
Right.
That's excellent point.
So, May that we had Darcy Woodson from CD4 come, and she's been a grassroots organizer who she helped get Colin Walkie elected, and she also helped get 2 city council members elected in these nonpartisan races in Norman. And one of the things that she talked about was her script when she goes door knocking, or when she's organizing and giving the script to door knockers, it's hi, my name is, and I'm friends with this person who's running for city council ward 5, and she's wanting to know what issues are important to you. And then they have kind of a list, and then they also have like an other. And so really most of that interaction with the voter is listening and taking note of what they're saying. And so if we sort of apply that same concept to our day-to-day conversations, I believe that we will have more success, like to your point. So I didn't mean to take over. Oh, you're just okay.
One more, just to kind of play off of what you just said. And people will start to notice what you're doing rather than what you're saying. Because if you look on Facebook, which I participate in, just with my grandchildren and pets on there, and that's about as far as my participation goes on there. But when people learn what you personally are about, and people know in Buffalo that I'm a Democrat, but they also know that I teach English to adult learners, I'm a teacher, I volunteer, all sorts of things. And just being that person that I think Democrats stand for, I have a lot of people who I know are Trump Republicans, that when they lost their job and no longer had health insurance, called me and said, hey, how do I get health insurance right now? Because they just knew that I would help them.
And also not judge them.
Right, and not judge them, and because they heard, just kind of that I'm definitely for healthcare, and just from some personal issues that I've had, And they knew I had been sick and that I was able to get the Affordable Health Care Act. But they also knew that if somebody asked me to do something, that I can't say no. And so, anyway, I think that goes a long way too. Just like I had a boss one time that, they sold insurance and they were investment advisors, and he said he had been in the Chamber of Commerce over 10 years before he ever asked anybody to if they wanted to become a client. So I feel like you have to put your time in, but then also, you have to do what you're saying. You have to let people know this is who I am personally, and this is why I like being a Democrat, and this is because this is what I feel they stand for, and not because just I want to stand for that. That's just who I am.
Sure.
And people start seeing that.
Along with what you're saying, there's a difference between I'm unapologetic. This is who I am. I like myself. I like me. We're good. And hey, this is what I'm about, but I need you to be about this too.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a difference. And I think there's a time and a place for everything. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
is there any other questions or thoughts that we can talk about?
I would add one more thing. A barrier to having people do absentee ballots is the lack of knowing where to find a notary, because you do need to get it notarized to send it in. I would suggest I think it's just $50. Send, it's super easy. All you have to do is make sure you don't have to spell it. Send it in, and then you can notarize ballots. I'm going to be doing it for my tribe's ballots that are out in the Panhandle, and I highly suggest everyone consider it.
Woodward County Secretary is a notary, but beyond that, every single bank has a notary. The tag office has a notary.
But what you can do while you're knocking doors is you can have an absentee ballot form for them to fill out and say, call me when you fill this out, and then call, and I'll turn it in for you. And then let me know when you get your ballot, and I'll come back and I'll notarize it for you here. So they don't even have to go anywhere. You're going to them.
You have to get every ballot notarized?
Absentee ballot,
absentee,
yes.
So at that point, we just look at their credentials and know that that's who's on the absentee ballot.
yeah, she is. She's good.
Yes, they all have to be notarized.
So these by mail too? The mail?
That's what that is.
So, okay, so every time you vote, you have to get it. Okay, I didn't know.
Well, it's because they have kind of like when we have a credentialing committee at the conventions. That's what getting it notarized is because you're voting in your home, so you need to have it notarized when you sign it.
It just I hadn't thought about that, and that would make it, an extra step and make it harder.
Yeah. But I don't think that a notary is an attempted disenfranchisement.
Oh, no. I just think the more steps you get, the more likely it's not going to
You're right. You're absolutely
Well,
right.
I know, true, but, so I'm going to bring Darcy up again. If she recognizes that she's got a couple of potential voters for her candidate, and they, say, yeah, I'll take the ballot or whatever, she will bring a notary to them and then handle all of the ballots to ensure that, even if it's 5 votes. We lost an election on the other side of the state by 56 votes. Or it's somewhere close to there. It might be a little bit more. It was 56 votes. But, what would have happened if we had 56 absentee ballots that we got notarized? That would have made it, or 57, would have made a difference.
Especially for the elders and then for the parents who don't have time to go get a stamp or go get it notarized during the day because they're working.
Yeah, I was going to say
Anything that
working
you
class.
can do to help them overcome those barriers of having their voice heard, that is going to bring a more successful rate of not only absentee ballots but also engagement later on.
Sure.
Also, military is another important, active duty military, especially because they move around from state to state. So
That's a really
sometimes
good point.
during the election cycle, they might be in the state of Texas when their home state is South Carolina.
Yeah.
So they might not know how to go about doing all that.
But you remember when they started making a big stink about Donald Trump's daughter is registered in 2 states? It's just like that with military. I'm a military wife. My husband served. You have a home address.
Your home is right.
Our home of record was, yeah, you served too, Oklahoma. But we lived in every state imaginable.
Right.
So,
That's why I moved here.
College kids are the same way.
Yes.
We did a lot of absentee ballots. And we have notary on campus, so we would just send them to notary on campus and then make sure they got sent in. But, you know, a lot of the kids that come to regional school, they're actually from, you know, Oklahoma City, or they're from Texas or whatever, and they don't want to drive. Oh, you know, I talked to people, well, I'm not going to drive all the way I'm not going to drive 2 hours to just go vote. I'm not going to go wait in line just to vote. And so it was like, okay, well, here's the perfect candidate. Let's get today's the last day. Let's get your absentee ballot in. But we've got to work hard at being sure we know when's the cutoff date for registering to vote for a primary and for a general, and when's the cutoff to send in an absentee ballot. You know, all of these things are things that we can find easily, but it's just a matter of just staying abreast of the situation.
Well, and the county election boards have a responsibility to advertise that, but a lot of people don't get newspapers. I mean, just because they get it out there doesn't mean people are aware of it.
Right.
And I will tell you also, sometimes it's real late notice.
Yeah, it doesn't
may
mean it's
be
marketed
posted,
well.
but it's not early enough to really solve the problems.
Yeah.
And we have found that we have to call the county election board, like you said, to find the elections.
Yeah.
Because they're not posted.
Oh, I've
Local stuff
had to as well.
is not posted.
well, and here's one of the things I was thinking of doing is going through VAN and visiting everyone under the age of 25. Every single person under 25 is registered as a Democrat, and talk to them and be like, look, this is coming up. Would you like me to send you a reminder call? And add them to the list of people that I put in my robocall. Just send them a robocall. Don't forget, vote this Tuesday or whatever.
There's
you know.
even some texting programs too.
Yeah.
I know texting programs went over really well in the primary. So, you know, and I'm guessing maybe the general as well, but
Especially for the younger crowd. I mean, I can
Yeah.
vote if I can text them.
yeah, if I see a number that I don't know, I'm not going to answer it. It's going to go to my voicemail. But if I see a text message, I'm like, well, I'll see what this is. Then it's like, oh, I'm being reminded to vote. That's neat. That's nifty. I was going to anyway, but that's pretty cool. Also, I just thought of this. Something else that we did on our campus was several of us volunteered to use our cars and our time to drive people to the polls. So if you're able to do that, you know, there's many people that would get out and vote that just don't have the ability to get there. And then maybe they're too late for the absentee ballot. It's about just trying to find every single avenue to get people to vote as possible. So thank you guys so much for not only listening to me, but also